Let me describe a normal day, and tell me if this feels familiar. You wake up after 7, maybe 8 hours of sleep. On paper, you did everything right, but instead of feeling clear and energized, your brain feels thick, heavy, like it's still loading. You sit on the edge of the bed, staring at nothing for a few seconds longer than you should. You grab your phone, scroll a little. Not because you want to, but because your brain doesn't feel ready for the day yet. Then comes the thought, okay, I need coffee. And that coffee helps for a bit. But by late morning, the fog creeps back in. By early afternoon, your focus is gone. And by night, you're exhausted, but somehow your brain still won't fully shut off. And the most confusing part? You feel like you're doing everything right. You're sleeping, you're eating pretty well, you're trying to be healthy. So why does your brain feel like it's constantly running on low battery? My name is Zach, and I spend way too much time thinking about how the brain and body actually produce energy. If you're someone who feels tired, unfocused, mentally foggy, or burned out despite sleeping enough and trying to be healthy, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because here's the thing, this isn't a motivation problem. It's not a discipline problem, and it's definitely not a you're just lazy problem. It's a design problem. Your brain wasn't designed for the way modern life forces it to operate. And once you see that clearly, a lot of this starts to make sense. The big lie about energy? Look, most people think energy is simple. Sleep more, drink coffee, push harder. But energy doesn't work like that. Energy is not something you force, it's something your brain allows. And right now, most people are unknowingly living in a way that constantly blocks that process. Here's what most people don't realize. Your brain evolved in an environment that looked nothing like your current life. For over 200,000 years, human brains evolved around natural light cycles, physical movement, long periods of low stimulation, and short bursts of stress followed by real recovery. Now compare that to today. Artificial light, screens until midnight, constant notifications, endless information, mental stress with no physical release. Same brain, completely different environment. And that mismatch is draining your energy at a biological level. Why sleep isn't fixing the problem? Now you might be thinking, Zach, I sleep 7 or 8 hours. Sleep can't be the issue. And that assumption alone is wrecking a lot of brains. Because sleep quantity and sleep quality are not the same thing. According to data from the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, nearly 35 to 40% of adults who sleep the recommended 7 to 9 hours still show signs of poor sleep efficiency, meaning their brain never fully enters the deep restorative stages it needs. Here's why that matters. About 70% of your brain's metabolic recovery happens during deep slow-wave sleep and REM sleep. That's when neural waste is cleared, synapses are repaired, energy systems are reset. If those stages are disrupted, even slightly, your brain wakes up underpowered. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Most modern habits don't reduce how long you sleep, they reduce how deep you sleep. Late night scrolling, blue light exposure, eating too close to bedtime, alcohol, even one drink. Studies show that alcohol alone can reduce REM sleep by 20 to 40%, even if total sleep time increases. So you wake up thinking, I slept enough, but your brain is thinking, we didn't finish repairs. That's like charging your phone overnight with a broken charger that only works at 30%. Caffeine, the energy illusion? Look, caffeine isn't evil, but here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people aren't using caffeine to boost energy. They're using it to mask exhaustion. Caffeine doesn't create energy. It blocks adenosine, the chemical that tells your brain you're tired. So the fatigue signal disappears temporarily, but the underlying energy debt stays. Now here's a stat that should make you pause. Research published in Nature Neuroscience shows that habitual caffeine use reduces adenosine receptor sensitivity over time. Translation, your brain needs more caffeine to just feel normal. That's why 1 cup becomes 2, 2 becomes 3, and eventually you're tired with caffeine. And there's a second problem most people miss. Caffeine increases cortisol, your stress hormone. Chronically elevated cortisol reduces mitochondrial efficiency in neurons, which means your brain literally produces less usable energy. So you end up trapped in a loop. Low energy, caffeine. Caffeine, stress. Stress, worse sleep. Worse sleep, lower brain energy. And the cycle tightens. The stimulation trap, why your brain never rests? This is one of the biggest problems nobody talks about. Your brain has two main modes, energy expenditure and recovery, and most people never fully enter recovery anymore. Why? Because we eliminated boredom. Phone, notifications, music, videos, background noise, constant input. Here's what most people don't realize. Dopamine isn't just a pleasure chemical. It's an energy regulator. Every time you get a small dopamine hit, your brain spends energy processing it. Individually, not a big deal, but over hours and days, your brain never fully powers down. Studies from Stanford's Neuroscience lab show that constant low-level dopamine stimulation reduces the brain's ability to sustain focus and mental endurance. That's why you feel tired but restless, exhausted but unable to relax. Your brain isn't undermotivated, it's overheated. Blood sugar and the energy roller coaster? Now let's talk about food, specifically how unstable energy messes with your brain. Your brain runs primarily on glucose, but it needs stable glucose, not spikes. Here's a simple example. You eat a carb-heavy breakfast or snack. Blood sugar spikes, insulin spikes, energy feels good, briefly. Then insulin overshoots, blood sugar drops, and suddenly brain fog, irritability, cravings, fatigue. According to metabolic research from Harvard, repeated glucose spikes reduce neuronal glucose uptake efficiency over time, meaning your brain becomes worse at using the fuel you give it. That's why energy crashes feel so sudden and intense. Your brain isn't weak, it's being yanked up and down all day. Mental stress without physical release? This one surprises people. Your brain evolved alongside movement. Stress hormones were meant to be cleared through physical action, but modern stress is mental and sedentary. Emails, deadlines, overthinking, constant pressure. Cortisol goes up, but your body doesn't move, so cortisol stays elevated. Chronic cortisol reduces memory formation, focus, sleep depth. Even 10 to 20 minutes of light movement significantly lowers stress hormones. Not intense workouts, not punishment, just movement. Your brain needs an off switch, and movement is one of the strongest ones we have. How this all stacks? The real problem. Here's what most people don't realize. These habits don't hurt you individually, they compound. Poor sleep leads to more caffeine. More caffeine leads to worse sleep. More stress leads to more scrolling. More scrolling leads to less recovery. Blood sugar swings lead to more fatigue, and fatigue leads to less movement. And slowly, your brain shifts into survival mode. Not broken, not diseased, just constantly under-recovered. How to start fixing this? Immediately? Let's get practical. You don't need a full life overhaul. You need strategic changes. Step 1. Protect sleep depth. No screens 60 minutes before bed. Last meal 3 hours before sleep. Consistent sleep and wake times. Step 2. Delay caffeine. No caffeine for the first 60 to 90 minutes after waking. Let natural cortisol rhythms work. Step 3. Create dopamine silence. At least 1 block per day with no input. No phone, no music, no stimulation. Step 4. Stabilize blood sugar. Pair carbs with protein and fat. Avoid sugar on an empty stomach. Step 5. Move to clear stress. Walking, stretching, light daily movement. Not extreme, not complicated, consistent. Look, low brain energy isn't a personal failure. It's a biological signal. Your brain isn't broken. It just wasn't designed for this. And now you know how to work with it again.